Picture this. It is May 24, 2026. The stage lights are just blinding.
Oh, I can see it.
Yeah, and the bass is thumping so hard you can literally feel it vibrating up through the ground of Harrington Country Park. And right in the center of it all is Ciara Mary-Alice Thompson.
Right, CMAT.
Exactly, the Irish pop powerhouse, CMAT. She is just delivering this triumphant, intensely high-energy set to a roaring crowd at BBC Radio 1's big weekend in Sunderland. And for that brief, electric moment, she is completely untouchable.
I mean, it is the absolute pinnacle of live performance, right? The crowd is totally synchronized with her. The vocals are flawless. It just represents years of grueling work finally manifesting as, like, pure artistic command.
But the moment that incredible footage hits the internet, the actual roar of the live crowd is completely drowned out.
It just vanishes.
It vanishes. It's instantly replaced by this tidal wave of digital toxicity. It becomes a wave so severe and honestly so unrelenting that the BBC is actually forced to step in and shut down the conversation entirely.
Which is wild for a major broadcaster to do.
Right. So today, welcome to the deep dive. We are opening up a massive stack of cultural reporting, music journalism, and even an academic case study to figure out why this happened.
We've got a lot to get through.
We really do. We are going to explore the heavy cost of being a woman in the public eye, the sudden, really toxic whiplash of what the internet is calling shrinking girl summer, and how one brilliant artist is fighting back against this obsession with her body, all while, simultaneously trying to change the world. Okay, let's unpack this.
So, to really understand the sheer scale of the disconnect between her massive physical success and her digital treatment, we have to establish her actual footprint in the industry.
Right, she isn't just some newcomer.
Exactly. CMAT is not a fringe artist trying to, generate controversy for clicks.
Yeah.
We are talking about an artist who is widely referred to as Dublin's Dolly Parton.
Such a great title.
It is. She holds 3 #1 albums in Ireland. She has won the Choice Music Prize. She secured nominations for the Mercury Prize and the Brit Awards. I mean, she commands universal critical acclaim.
Which makes the aftermath of that Sunderland performance so baffling to me. You look at the digital footprint of that weekend, and a massive portion of the internet just ignored her vocals.
Utterly ignored them.
They ignored her stage presence, her artistry, and went straight to relentlessly body-shaming her. It reached this boiling point where she actually had to release a public statement.
And, the saddest part is that this is not an isolated incident. There is a deeply frustrating historical precedent here.
You mean the Luton show?
Yeah, if we rewind exactly 2 years to the 2024 Big Weekend Festival in Luton, we see the blueprint for this exact scenario. During her set, CMAT took off her shirt mid-performance to reveal a fitted white outfit.
Wait, taking off a shirt to reveal a new outfit, which is like a standard, almost traditional pop star move, that caused a meltdown 2 years ago as well.
Oh, absolutely. The BBC's social media channels even framed it enthusiastically. They called it a fashion moment. But it triggered an immediate battlefield in the comments sections.
So the celebration was just derailed.
Completely derailed by this coordinated flood of fat-shaming abuse.
What really stands out to me in the source material, though, is the dramatic shift in how she processes this abuse. Like, back in 2024, she used humor as a shield.
Oh, yeah, she fired off that tweet.
Yes, the tweet that went completely viral where she joked, "I didn't realize it was illegal to have a huge ass."
Which is iconic.
It's iconic, but jump to 2026, and that humor is noticeably absent. Following Sunderland, her statement expresses profound, heavy sadness. She noted that it is incredibly boring for her, a self-described gorgeous genius, to have to keep addressing how horribly she's treated.
That transition, from defiance to deep exhaustion, it brings us directly to how institutions actually handle these digital mobs.
Right.
In both 2024 and 2026, the BBC's primary reaction was to disable the comments on the videos.
Right.
And the academic case study we're reviewing today categorizes this specific moderation tactic as protective silencing.
But wait, isn't turning off the comments like the only responsible thing a broadcaster can do in that moment? I mean, if they leave them up, aren't they essentially hosting and amplifying a digital mob?
Well, on the surface, yes, it appears responsible. The concept of protective silencing acknowledges that turning off comments shields the target from immediate, direct vitriol on that specific post.
Okay, so it stops the bleeding.
Right. But the researchers argue it creates severe collateral damage.
Yeah.
It effectively allows the most toxic actors to dictate the parameters of public engagement.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. The artist is penalized for the abuse she is receiving by being cut off from her actual fan base, and, the vital community building that naturally follows a major performance.
It's like locking the victim in a panic room and letting the burglars have the run of the rest of the house.
That is a perfect way to put it.
Are these platforms just washing their hands of the problem?
Yeah.
They avoid the hard work of actual moderation, and the artist is left totally isolated in the dark.
Exactly. The burden of processing systemic hostility is thrown right back onto the target. CMAT even noted that despite deleting major social media applications from her phone to protect her psychological well-being.
Which is a huge step.
It is. But the sheer volume of the discourse still breached her boundaries. The conversation became so ubiquitous that it reached her anyway.
So if the panic room strategy fails, and her boundaries are breached regardless, what changed in the cultural groundwater between 2024 and 2026 to make the internet so much more hostile to her?
That's the big question.
Because you'd assume that gaining more fame, getting more critical acclaim would provide a layer of armor, but here it seems to have just painted a larger target on her back.
Well, we have to examine the environment itself. In her 2026 statement, CMAT referenced a Substack essay by a cultural commentator known as Front Row Feels.
I read that piece. It's really good.
It's excellent.
Yeah.
The essay meticulously pointed out this glaring disparity. Conventionally thin performers who played the exact same Sunderland stage artists like Zara Larsson and Olivia Dean, they were granted a baseline level of humanity and grace by the digital public that was systematically denied to CMAT.
It highlights such a grim double standard. If you are thin, your body is accepted as like a neutral vehicle for the performance. But if you are plus size, your body suddenly becomes the performance itself.
Yes.
And the entire internet feels entitled to submit a review of it.
And this disparity, it's the symptom of a much larger sociological shift. The Guardian recently published an extensive piece on a phenomenon they are calling shrinking girl summer.
I really want to spend some time on this because the cultural whiplash here is severe.
Oh, it's whiplash in the truest sense.
We have spent the better part of 10 years bathed in the rhetoric of body positivity. The mainstream message was supposed to be about accepting natural variations in human size. But suddenly, we're watching major celebrities, from Oprah Winfrey to Robbie Williams, openly detailing their journeys to shrink themselves down.
The mechanism driving this shift is largely economic and pharmaceutical. The widespread introduction of GLP-1 weight loss drugs has essentially made thinness a rapidly purchasable commodity again.
Right.
When a medical intervention suddenly makes a specific body type accessible to the wealthy and influential, that body type is quickly rebranded as a status symbol. So the culture just discards the inclusive messaging of the past decade and reverts to this noughties-era thinness worship.
Meaning the baseline definition of health is being aggressively rewritten.
Precisely. Health is once again being falsely and exclusively equated with thinness. In this renewed digital landscape, when a larger body appears on a main stage, it is no longer viewed as a natural human variation.
It's seen as a choice.
Right. It is actively framed by the algorithm and the audience as an unacceptable deviation, or even like a moral failure to optimize oneself.
Here's where it gets really interesting. In the middle of this massive cultural backslide, CMAT completely refuses to play the role society demands of her.
She won't do it.
She explicitly pushed back against commentators who attempted to label her as brave merely for existing on a stage. She stated in clear terms that she is not choosing her size as some sort of punk rock act of liberty.
She is actively dismantling the narrative that her body is a deliberate political provocation.
She is literally telling the public, I just have a body. She has openly acknowledged the extreme difficulty she's faced trying to change it to fit in and avoid this exact abuse. She isn't asking to be a symbol for a movement. She is a working pop star.
And a highly successful one at that.
Exactly. And the success she bled for is being tarnished because she isn't allowed to enjoy it unless she conforms to an aesthetic metric she has no interest in chasing anymore.
By rejecting that brave plus-size artist trope, she exposes the exhausting emotional labor forced upon individuals who are denied the basic privilege of being perceived as their profession first. She demands to be evaluated on her vocals, her songwriting, and her stagecraft.
But wait, we keep hearing that she has a massive, highly deliberate political voice. But looking at the digital footprint of Sunderland, it gets entirely buried under discourse about her physical form.
It really does.
What is she actually doing out there that the media is so willing to ignore?
Her activism is incredibly sophisticated and operates on a global scale.
Now, before we dive into the specifics of those actions, I need to explicitly state to you listening that we are not endorsing the viewpoints of the original source material.
Definitely.
We are simply conveying the artist's stances as they are documented in the journalism and the reports we've gathered. Our goal is to report impartially on the tangible actions she has taken within the industry.
Right. The focus here is the stark contrast between her material actions and the digital reaction. For example, ITV News and the BBC documented her withdrawal from the 2024 Latitude Festival.
That was a huge story.
It was. She pulled out of the lineup due to the festival sponsor, Barclays' ties to weapons financing, acting in solidarity with Palestine.
And that is not just some polite social media post. She literally stated she would not let her precious work get into bed with violence, and that comes with a massive financial penalty.
A huge one.
The reporting notes she lost lucrative brand deals, including a major designer perfume contract, specifically because she took that stance.
She accepted a tangible economic loss for a political conviction. She only rejoined the lineup after the sponsorship was formally dropped. And she utilizes her platform at major cultural events, leading massive crowds at Glastonbury and Coachella in Free Palestine chants.
The scope of her outspokenness is just wild. She stood on the podium at the 2026 Brit Awards and explicitly called out the rise of fascism in Western nations. She engaged in a direct fight with her own broadcaster, the BBC, over their decision to edit 40 seconds of the Irish language out of the radio edit for her single Euro Country.
She doesn't back down.
Never. And she leverages her status as a bisexual icon to fiercely defend trans rights, even when it means publicly critiquing fellow artists like Roisin Murphy over exclusionary rhetoric.
She also consistently targets the economic structures around her. She points to what she calls the neo-capitalist snake as the root cause for the extreme cost of living and the forced emigration of young people in Ireland.
So just to recap, we have an artist boycotting major financial institutions, leading anti-fascist chants, challenging state broadcasters, and critiquing the foundations of modern capitalism.
Quite the resume.
Yet the internet would rather debate her dress size. Is it like a magician's sleight of hand? The culture forces you to look at the shiny, controversial object, her body, so you don't notice that she is systematically dismantling the stage they're standing on.
That's a fascinating way to look at it.
If you are listening to this right now, you might be wondering the same thing I am. Is the relentless body shaming actually a subconscious distraction tactic by a society that desperately does not want to engage with her critiques on human rights and capital?
If we connect this to the bigger picture, the academic case study actually synthesizes this dynamic perfectly. History provides endless examples where women who challenge structural power are suddenly and very aggressively critiqued on their aesthetics.
It's the oldest trick in the book.
It is an incredibly effective silencing mechanism. I mean, it is vastly easier for a hostile digital mob or a corporate entity to generate endless discourse over whether a pop star's outfit is flattering than it is to address her boycott of their financial infrastructure.
Oh, wow, yeah.
The entertainment media and the digital algorithms hyper-focus on policing her physical appearance as a mechanism to mute and sanitize her highly deliberate political statements.
Moving from the digital smokescreens back to the physical reality of her life, her refusal to be sanitized is even more impressive when you look at what it took to build her career. I mean, her current artistic triumph was forged in an environment that would have broken most people.
Grounding her current cultural position in her early history really reveals the structural integrity of her resilience.
She spent years working at a TK Maxx in Manchester, making like £8 an hour just trying to survive. She worked grueling night shifts, selling shots in clubs, dealing with total isolation and a highly toxic personal relationship.
It was incredibly dark.
And the stress of attempting to break into the music industry while living in extreme poverty actually caused her to experience auditory and visual hallucinations while living in New York.
Oh, that part of the reporting was harrowing.
It was. She described sitting in her apartment genuinely believing it was crawling with bugs.
She was pushed to the absolute psychological and financial breaking point.
Yeah. And from that rock bottom, sitting alone on her floor in tears, she wrote her breakout hit, "I Want to Be a Cowboy, Baby," in 20 minutes. It was this raw, unfiltered distillation of her exhaustion and her ambition.
And that same unapologetic energy fuels her response to the industry's aesthetic demands today. I mean, look at her hit song, Take a Sexy Picture of Me.
I love that song.
It generated a massive viral TikTok dance trend, and it operates as a direct musical middle finger to the establishment.
The backstory on that song is just incredible. The journalism notes she wrote it after London fashion directors told her she wasn't commercially attractive enough for standard fashion shoots.
Which is insane.
And they told her that she should consider herself lucky they even had plus-size designer clothes for her to wear.
So what did she do? She took an industry attempt to humiliate her and weaponized it into a viral, chart-topping anthem. She basically forces the establishment to consume the very aesthetic they tried to reject.
Which brings us to today, May 29th, 2026. Despite the shrinking girl summer cultural rollback, despite the comment sections, and despite the attempts at protective silencing, CMAT is undeniably winning.
She really is.
Her Euro country tour is completely selling out across the UK and Ireland. Tomorrow night, she is playing a massive, entirely sold-out headline show at St. Anne's Park in Dublin.
It serves as a powerful testament to the limits of digital toxicity. While online spaces can generate overwhelming algorithmic hostility, the physical reality of her artistry remains completely intact.
They can't touch it.
They can't. The sold-out parks, the critical acclaim, and the genuine human connection with her audience, none of that can be dismantled by a comment section.
I want to speak directly to you listening for a second. Why does this deep dive matter to your life? We all navigate a world that constantly demands conformity, whether it is the pressure to optimize yourself for a corporate job, the expectation to curate a specific aesthetic on your social media feeds, or the unspoken rules within your personal relationships. There's always some metric trying to force you into a mold. So true. CMAT provides walking, singing proof that your worth and your ultimate success is not defined by your adherence to someone else's rulebook.
She offers a vital model for existing loudly and successfully in spaces that are actively structurally attempting to quiet you down.
Let's recap the journey we've been on today. We started with the blinding lights and the thumping bass of her Sunderland performance. We examined the incredibly toxic, pharmaceutical-driven rollback of Shrinking Girl Summer. And we unpacked the sleight of hand used to distract from her unyielding political voice, finally arriving at her undeniable musical triumph.
What's fascinating here is how CMAT's mere existence challenges the entire machinery of modern celebrity.
Yeah.
She refuses to be a sanitized product. She refuses to operate as a silent billboard for brands she fundamentally disagrees with. And she flatly refuses to apologize for her physical form. By holding her ground on all three fronts, she exposes just how fragile the rules of that machinery actually are.
So what does this all mean? I want to leave you with a thought to chew on as you go about the rest of your day. We live in an era that is completely obsessed with self-optimization.
It's exhausting.
It is. Every time you open your phone, the algorithm is feeding you instructions on how to shrink, how to biohack, and how to fix yourself to become more palatable to the market. What if the ultimate, most dangerous act of modern rebellion isn't spending your precious energy arguing with digital trolls or even trying to change a broken system from the inside? What if the true rebellion is simply choosing to be entirely, joyfully unbothered by the metrics that other people use to measure your worth?
That is something to think about.
Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive today. Keep questioning the narratives around you. And remember, the next time the internet tries to tell you who you should be, just picture those blinding stage lights, feel the bass in the ground, and listen to the true roar of the crowd.